Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everyone. It's Duncan here with the Firebelly Social Show, where we interview leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. And I'm so excited about our guest today. But let's say hey to Arnell, my co-host. What's up, Arnell?
Hey, what's up?
How's it going? I'm excited about our guest. You want to bring us in with a sponsor message and we'll get kicked off?
Absolutely. So thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the Firebelly Social Show. We have a great show lined up for you today, talking with Dr. Josh Anthony, founder of purpose-driven consulting brand Nlumn. This episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-based food and beverage brands bring people closer through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food or beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com to learn more.
Welcome, Dr. Josh Anthony. We're so happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
But listen, give us a little bit about yourself. You have such an impressive background. I don't want to risk screwing it up. So why don't you give us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. So as mentioned before, I'm the founder and CEO of Nlumn. We're a consulting company that works with businesses that are interested in participating in the personalized nutrition and health ecosystem. We really help them in three important ways. One, helping them to develop their strategy, helping them with innovation, and helping them to support new brands with impactful messaging. I came to Nlumn about 3.5 years ago after I had been one of the founders and the chief science officer for the personalized nutrition company Habit from 2015 until we sold that in 2019. I also spent 10 years with Campbell Soup Company, where I was responsible for global nutrition and health, and 10 years with Mead Johnson, which is now part of Reckitt. During my time there, I did everything from the very fuzzy front end, working in preclinical and clinical science, to leading innovation teams, both in the US and internationally. And my final role there as responsible for global innovation for the infant category. I also bring some experience from Unilever. And just going way back from a training standpoint, I have both a PhD in cell molecular physiology. I have a master's in nutrition. I also have an MBA. And I bring that up because there's a part of me that I always will think of myself as a scientist first. But I think science is only as good as to the extent that you can translate it for people to be able to use it. And so one thing I'd say has been very consistent about my career, whether it's with a big company, a startup, or my current brand, is to be able to translate science into products and services that people can use and make their life better. And to that end, I'm fortunate enough to have been able to have an impact on more than 150 different science-based products that I've been involved with either development or commercialization of.
That's so impressive. Congratulations. And wow.
Well, thank you.
You really remind me of a guest we had on that we've become friends with, Dr. Jamba Dunn, who is the founder of Rowdy Mermaid. And why you remind me of him, other than the fact that you're both very educated, handsome men, but also science-based is their kind of mantra. It's like, as opposed, very, very transparent labeling and, using things because of science and not because of, trying to get a texture to a certain place or mouthfeel to a certain place, but like focusing on science. So Doc, let's talk a little bit of, you mentioned personalized nutrition. Give us a scoop. What is that exactly, and why is it important?
Yeah, I think sometimes people try and overcomplicate personalized nutrition a bit, right? They say that it's very complex, or some of the science isn't ready, or we don't necessarily understand behavior. Simply put, personalized nutrition is something that is tailored to an individual's preferences as well as needs, right? And those needs may be subjective because somebody, say, is coming in because they want to lose weight or they need to manage an allergy. or it could be something that is, it could be very subjective based off of a preference, or objective based off of a need. So the subjective, one might be they feel they need to lose weight. The objective one might be they need to manage allergy. But it's simply making a selection that is consistent with that individual's needs that's going to result in better health. I like to think about it as sort of a 4-part cycle. What is the benefit they're looking for? What is the objective way that you can measure where you stand and where you need to go? Third, what is the information that you're going to share with that person to help to change their health? Fourth, how are you going to get them to change their behavior to reach that objective? But in the simplest sense, it's tailoring your food for your needs to get you to a better place, to help you meet a health or functional goal.
That's really interesting. It's what's the benefit, what's the objective, what's the information that's needed to get that going, and how will this specifically change? That just seems so incredibly specific and focused, as opposed to, I think, the generalized approach is just figure it out and maybe you'll get there. There's not really a deep contextual approach to it. I was curious to ask you, is nutrition and personalized nutrition democratized in this country, or are we still in a situation where it's mainly accessible to a few people?
Yeah, it's a really important question. That's the challenge. I like to often say that most of the time, personalized approaches to nutrition are within the domain of people that are already relatively healthy and relatively wealthy. And we are sitting on an abundance of science that can really help a number of people, particularly people that may have less access to education, less access to money, and that could really benefit from more personalized approaches to nutrition. And I think to do that, really, you have to kind of understand there's 2 parts to being successful in a personalized nutrition program. It's understanding the person's needs, and then it's getting them to change their behavior. So one of the reasons that Nlumn is choosing to work with companies as part of this ecosystem is a lot of times big companies may not realize that they have a very important tool. They have the products that allow somebody to change their behavior and to make it easy. It's a matter of helping them understand how some of those products can fit into a more personalized program. Because even though the people that are kind of the intense data trackers may represent less than 10% of the population, we know that 52% of the population last year tried on one or more different diets. So imagine if you can take that's data from IFIC, by the way. So imagine if you can take those diets or what people are selecting and make them a little bit better, address some of those gaps in the diet and help to deliver against those goals. You could meet a much broader swath of the population in a more affordable and accessible way.
And it's interesting. I mean, the thing that comes to mind is it's sort of like, let me say in my rudimentary understanding of this space, it's almost like the Netflix model, right? Netflix is different now, but the traditional model is very few blockbusters and a lot of small films. And the hope is that a lot of people watch the small films, and that's the model, right? Isn't it possibly true that the more people that we can get to be healthy and make smart choices, the better it is for this industry that of food and beverage that's interested in better nutrition for people? Because the more people that we can lift up, the bigger the pie is, right? And the bigger, I mean, we live in a capitalistic system, right? So we lift the system up, more people are buying it, more people are healthier, they're living longer. Or is it just sort of like, okay, we're going for the blockbusters and there's not room for that many products?
Oh, there absolutely is room. I mean, if you've had a chance, I wasn't there this year, but go to Expo West and look at the number of products that are that are available. There is plenty of room, and I think that shows you, the desire of people to be able to personalize their diets. It's just unfortunately not accessible to a lot of people that could really use it. And in terms of lifting it up and the value is, there's a huge proportion of chronic lifestyle diseases that relate to bad, people making bad choices. Genetics is a very popular place for people to look at when they're trying to make more personalized approaches to nutrition. But oftentimes our genes aren't our destiny, right? They are turned off and on to different degrees by how we live our lives, and importantly, the foods that we choose. So that can have a major impact on health. And that in turn has a major impact on our healthcare system. So it's not only a matter in terms of being able to, like, let's say, move product or provide more choices to people, but the concept of food as medicine, or food as prevention is very real. And there's been a number of studies that demonstrate just what a powerful impact that can have in terms of saving our healthcare system money, but more importantly, not just increasing lifespan, but increasing health span over time. And it's the foods that we choose that can help to build that resilience to allow us to live longer and healthier lives.
Definitely. One of the questions I wanted to ask is, how do you specifically make personal nutrition more accessible for people? Is it really about like product development, making stuff that's already created, more nutrient rich? Is it about messaging, getting the right message out to the right people so that they're more informed about what decisions to make?
Mm-hmm. You have to begin by simplifying the ecosystem and making that process simple to people. So what that means in a practical way, oftentimes if you go online and Google like personalized ecosystem, you see all these different potential inputs. And that's true. I mean, there's a lot of different inputs, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. So I would say it's like when you're thinking about the consumer, if I'm looking at it from a company standpoint, I really like what benefits can you deliver against? And if you know a benefit, how are you going to measure? How are you going to measure where somebody's at?
Yeah.
And then it's what products can you deliver? So you kind of start there. And then you start to say, well, what if we take this map, benefit, measure, information, behavior change, which of those can you fill really well, as simple as you can get there? And then what gaps are left? And then the question is, are you going to fill those gaps, or are you going to bring in partners to do it? And we use a process that really helps people to kind of understand what is going to make the most sense for our partners in terms of developing what I like to call minimal viable ecosystem. But there's just a general desire for us right now, or people in the personalized nutrition field, to talk about why it might not work. This is the complexities, the barriers. These are the gaps in the science as the barriers. This is the problem with our food system as barriers. But guess what? There's a lot of things out there that are very strong science, proven behavior modification tools, robust products that exist on the marketplace today that with just some education in terms of how they can be brought together to make a better diet and help people make better choices that could really be game changers. Even within the context, as you're saying, about like modifying diets or modifying existing products, sometimes with just small tweaks. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to hit in different places. And I think a lot of companies don't realize the power of what they already have in-house to make that happen with respect to things like some of the consumer data they have, their ability for product development, the ability to make things, taste good, the ability to help people create better recipes. So there's many opportunities in different places to hit it. The idea is always, like with any good strategy, it's focus. What do you want to do? And what's equally important is what's better to not do or let somebody else do for you. And we spend a lot of our time focusing with food and beverage, nutrition, supplement and ingredient companies in just those spaces.
Very cool. Yeah, one of the things I was going to ask, which you had already mentioned, was, how do brands normally react, to the personalized nutrition approach? And I can see how, up front, it can seem really complicated or confusing, but it's really just about simplifying the process, making it clear, educating the buyer, which is all really important.
Yeah, and sometimes too, there is this element of just keeping the person at the center of personal, right, as opposed to somebody's brand and just understanding their, what their needs are. One big mistake that I see a lot of companies will make is that they'll be there and they're coming at it strictly from a technology push. They've really created a test kit and they're providing it, providing to somebody. So you're asking somebody to spend hundreds of dollars on a test. And then, they may be waiting 6 to 8 weeks for the results. And then really at the end of the day, the results sound more like eat more fruits and vegetables, which may be expensive, difficult, not something that they like. There's a lot of opportunities to use the data that people already have on them. I mean, we're all collecting a huge amount of data every day that really can be used to help to tailor programs and where people can get, meaningful advice in a much shorter period of time that would be much more actionable for them.
That's fascinating. I think that the kind of the logical follow-up question is where and what is AI doing with all of this?
Oh boy, AI is just transforming industry. I heard a quote, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, but the idea is that you're going to learn how to work with AI, or you're going to be working for somebody that is using AI if your job is not made obsolete.
Right.
I think AI, I have a lot of respect for AI, and in the personalization, it's really transforming each step of the process. When it comes to really understanding new and novel biomarkers about us, it's helping us to take all the different markers from our biological systems, right? The genome, the microbiome, blood-based markers, demographics, geolocation, bring those together to have an understanding at the individual level like we've never had before. So, I think that, helping us to understand ourselves and how changes in each of those parts of our biological system can impact the others. It's creating a more complete vision of who you are and who you could be, right? What would be that ideal avatar going forward? It's transforming the ingredients that could be coming into personalized foodstuffs. You see companies like Brightseed and Nuritas, right, that are really using AI to identify specific new bioactives that I think could be like really transformational to the industry and the food system. So that's really exciting. AI is getting used more and more in terms of understanding how we can affect behavior change, not just in the context of looking to do sort of just-in-time behavioral intervention, right? That hey, I'm out at I'm out of the bar or out of the restaurant. Should I have this drink or that? Should I eat this or that? But also even providing avatars, right? It's being done in the gaming industry a lot now, where people are interacting with these virtual constructs to share information. But you can imagine that you get to a place where you might have virtual coaching or a virtual nutritionist, right? It's like, think about things like the mirror workout program or other things on steroids where you're actually having an interaction. You're really getting into kind of Star Trek kind of space, but these things aren't that far away, and it's really exciting because I think that, like anything else, with time we're going to have access to more of these different pieces. But for that 4-step process, AI is transforming every step along the way. So it's exciting, and with chat, like take a look at GPT, it's becoming much more accessible. So stay tuned. But I think that we're going to see some transformational innovation leveraging AI, not just in the ability to kind of write or draw, but it's already having a big impact on personalization.
That's a fascinating insight. Arnel, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, what about Nlumn? What's coming up next for you guys? What do you guys see on the horizon?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about a few things in the near term for our company. So the first one is we're in the process of redoing our website. So we're going to be relaunching that soon with much more links in the social, and have the opportunity for some new communication for our followers, and to be able to share more about our whole team. So I'm really excited about that. The second thing, I talked a little bit about doing work with clients in the context of strategy, new product and service innovation, but we've really been leaning more into helping to provide support. I always say that when people are like, "What's going to make personalized nutrition stick?" Well, beyond it being accessible and affordable, there is this element that there's a magic when consumer needs align with science. And the science of personalization says that things have to be, you have to be able to show that you have a benefit. That benefit has to be better than one size fits all approaches. And that benefit can be sustained, maintained or sustained over time. But what's happened in a lot of companies, a lot of the R of R&D has been outsourced. And what we've been doing at Nlumn is helping work with companies to be kind of a broker between contract research organizations, academic institutions, to help them with their research and their evidence base. So I've been really excited about that we've been able to drive some of this. And that even includes doing some virtual studies during the pandemic when people were having a hard time getting access to CROs. And we have some expertise on our team that is really just superb at managing or helping to provide oversight for clinical studies. And then finally, I'll come back to the point I made before. I'll just tease something that we have coming that I'm really excited about. I talked a lot about keeping the person at the center of personalized nutrition. And, there's a very common question that I get is, who is the personalized nutrition consumer? We're developing a new platform that's really going to allow our clients to understand that in a very unique, very meaningful, and highly personalized way. I think this is going to be a great value-added service. And I think that the one question about the personalized nutrition consumer is that, like, who are they? Well, guess what? It's going to be different depending on who the company is. But we're going to bring that to life, along with the strategy, innovation, and research that's needed to help them reach their goals as well.
Very cool.
We love it. I mean, I think that it's really cool to see you kind of at the nexus of all of this coming together and taking it to the next level, and helping companies with not only their messaging, but the science as well. I think that the messaging has to be informative, but it's also going to be accessible as well. So you've got to communicate the key points. But how can people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So any questions or inquiries, you can, best way is info@nlumn.com, and Nlumn is NLUMN.com, info@nlumn.com. You can also, look to reach out to, myself or the company via LinkedIn. Always happy to connect. So.
Awesome. Well, it's been such a pleasure, and gosh, what a topic of the moment with the AI and the importance of. I mean, it seems like Arnell, all the conversations we have recently are about making better personal health decisions, and I'm glad to be having those conversations instead of like dealing with a lot of really like nasty products that are out there that have been in our ecosystem and lives for years. And instead, we're fortunate to talk to these future thinking founders. And thank you so much, Doc, for coming on today and sharing your experience and your wisdom. And also thank you for doing this. I mean, I think for Arnell and I, we want to shine a light on people that are doing things that are better for humans, and not, just sort of riding easy waves to, cush lives, but putting themselves in uncomfortable positions. And thank you for doing that. Everyone, one more time, Dr. Josh Anthony at Nlumn. You can also reach out to him on LinkedIn, and we're so happy to have you here. Thank you for listening. to the Firebelly Social Show. Nlumn, will you take us out with a sponsor message?
Absolutely. So this episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-based food and beverage brands bring people closer through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food and beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com to learn more.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And one more time, thank you, Dr. Josh Anthony, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.